My name is Dylan, and I am not a Pokemon. I am, however, a rocket. And welcome to Dylan Knows. Well, actually, no, it isn't Dylan Knows. That's my show I do on the weekends. This weekend will be on Saturday night, 9 o'clock, with Jerry Fletcher. We'll be doing our top 10 movies with numbers in their titles. No sequels, just movies with numbers, like 7 and Apollo 13, stuff like that. But we're here to talk about the Comic Hall, and so we're going to get moving on that right now. Comic Hall is my weekly show I do where I go to a comic book store. I spend an exorbitant amount of money, and then come back here, show you them, and then read them later. I've been getting caught up on the Rebirth books. I've been liking a lot of them right now, and there's a whole lot more coming out, and all kinds of neat stuff. Again, I got to start cutting back again, but just this week was just too much to like. So without further ado, we've got this week's The Comic Hall. So as always, we get started with DC, and the first one is, actually, let me get a sip of a cool, refreshing liquid. The first one is a part of the DC Universe Rebirth, but not a Rebirth book. It's actually #1 of a new comic series called New Superman. There we go, New Superman. What's interesting about this is this book is about a Chinese Superman, a hero who becomes Superman in China. And they have a Wonder Woman and a Batman, as you can see right there as well. And we'll get to the Supermans in a second. It's written by Jean Luen Yang, art by Victor Bogdanovich, with inks by Richard Friend. So it's actually trying for a little bit more diversity. It's a pretty interesting artwork, pretty cool looking artwork. In fact, you saw Batman and Wonder Woman. And let's see if we can get a shot of the Superman. I mean, I like the cover, but let's see if he makes an appearance in here as well. No, not really. Oh, kind of. Here's his first appearance. So it looks very interesting, looks different. Chinese Superman is very interesting. I remember a few years back, they did a India Spider-Man, which was interesting. He had a really cool costume. So why not? So #1, like a brand new character, all brand new. It's like you're getting in the ground floor of something really cool. And it's a New Superman, #1. This one is a rebirth. This is the rebirth of the one-shots that they do to set up where the story's going to go. I've been reading the Green Lanterns book. This one has Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps rebirth #1 with that Ethan Van Sciver artwork cover. So you know you're going to get it. He is the artist on the book, and it's written by Robert Venditti. So it looks like it's following off of what happened in the old Green Lantern, where it looks like the Sinestro Corps has taken over and the Green Lantern Corps has disappeared. So now it's up to the Green Lantern Corps to come back and find a way to save the day. And of course, you all go behind Hal, who it's kind of annoying that he is like their hero, but at least you get to see the characters, and there's a. Looks like all of them are going to be in there. So you get Ethan Van Sciver and artwork, and he's actually, I think, going to be doing some of the regular work on the book as well. And Hal's back as a regular Green Lantern, so pretty good. I mean, if you like Hal Jordan and you like the Green Lantern Corps, you like what Robert Venditti was doing after Jeff Johns left, well, there you go. Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and the Green Lantern Corps Rebirth #1. The first issue of the book will be out in 2 weeks. Also this week was Nightwing Rebirth #1. Again, setting the stage for new Nightwing, getting him back into the blue, back in Gotham, stuff like that. Tim Seeley, who's been writing him, is still writing him. I just got to find out. Ooh, looks like Huntress is back. Sweet. Look at that. And Yannick Paquette is doing the artwork. So I'm liking that. I think, let's see if I can find the inker's name, but they don't make it easy to find the creator's stuff here. There we go. It's Tim Seeley, writer, Yannick Paquette, artist. So yeah, he's just doing it. But there he is. Nightwing's back. And basically it's just a setup of all the stuff that has been happening in the previous comics, and it looks like Midnighter makes an appearance in there as well. It connects the dots between the old Dick Grayson comic that Sealer was writing and the new one that he's writing here with Nightwing coming back, and looking like they're bringing back the owls. The Court of Owls are back. So I think there was something to do with Dick being a member of them now. So I guess it's going to be a big part of that. So Nightwing Rebirth #1. So if you want to know what's going on with Nightwing, and again, his #1 should be coming out in 2 weeks, I believe. Let me see. Oh, these are just August. Interesting. August stuff. So we'll see. Next up is The Flash #2. So this is the regular series with The Flash. It's written by Joshua Williamson. Again, I put it back now. Joshua Williamson is the writer with art by Carmine Di Giandomenico. So we're getting new Flash stuff and new status quo stuff, and we'll see what's going on with the Flash and the different Flashes that are coming up, and what's going on with Barry. So Wally's going to be in the Titans, which we showed last week, I believe. So that's Flash #2. Wonder Woman #2. Actually, I read Wonder Woman Rebirth and Wonder Woman #1, and of course, as being written by Greg Rucka, it is fantastic. So this is a really cool cover. This is what they're doing with Wonder Woman is very interesting. It's bi-weekly. So the first week of the month when it comes out, it'll be focused on modern day Wonder Woman. The second week that comes out, we'll have a different artist on it, Nicola Scott. It's still going to be Greg Rucka, but Nicola Scott's doing the art. And they're going to do basically Wonder Woman Year 1. I'm sure eventually once Rucka's done his story, they'll probably somehow merge and form it into a regular, storyline. But Nicola Scott is fantastic, and her and Greg Rucka always do so well together. But if you want to know what's going on with Wonder Woman, this is a good place to start. So beautiful cover, and Greg Rucka is knocking out of the park, and now he's got Nicola Scott helping him out too for this one. Liam Sharp does a pretty good job in the first week, and it's a pretty good story. Greg Rucka's got a good story going on. Next up is Detective Comics 936, continuing the Bat family story. I believe it's like Catwoman and Clayface on there. It's written by James Tynion IV. Alvaro Martinez pencils, Raul Fernandez inks. So that's a different art team, I think, than has been doing it before. But it's basically got Batwoman teamed up with Batman, with Spoiler, with I forget her name, but the other Batgirl, who was the daughter of the one bad guy, Clayface as well. Kane, that's it, yeah. So it's a good series. This is like one of the next ones I'm gonna try to read, because Batman has been pretty good, and it's always good to see the Bat team together. It looks like Tim Drake, Robin is in it as well. Stephanie Spoiler is in it too. So always good, Detective Comics, and they're back to the original numbering, so that's good as well too. Superman's been excellent. I haven't read Action yet, but the Superman comic itself is excellent. But this is Action Comics 959. It's written by Dan Jurgens, so I'm gonna get a better view of that. Looks like Tyler Kirkman's doing the artwork on this one. Kirkham, I'm sorry. And it's always interesting to have when Dan Jurgens seems like he's been around forever. And he has, technically. He's been around since the 80s, at least. And it's good to see him getting back into Superman, because he has been doing a good job with Superman, and he loves himself some. Tyler Kirkham's artwork is pretty good. He loves himself some Lex Luthor, who is pretty much like the main Superman in this, with the other Superman in there as well. You get them all together. So it's pretty interesting. Wow, they have like no double page spreads. Here we go. So good artwork on that, and Also, Dan Jurgens is always a good writer. So Action Comics, number 959. All right. That's it for DC. I don't know which rebirths are coming out next week, or second parts and stuff like that. So we'll find out then. Now we got Marvel. Now Marvel's got a big book this week that they didn't want anyone to spoil, and I probably won't spoil it. But Civil War II, number 3, comes out today. And in it, one of the Avengers dies and is killed by another Avenger. It's written by Brian Michael Bendis, with artwork this time by Marquez. Let's see. I think he did the artwork the last time too. See, this is just what I hate. I'm going to make sure I get the names right. There we go. Dave Marquez. So, you know, Civil War's going on to capitalize on the movie, and you're getting all the heroes together on the 2-page spread, and the rest of the stuff is pretty much spoilers. So I'm not going to show you any more of those. But it's a pretty interesting story going on, so we'll see how it goes. Civil War also has been having all these, it's been crossing over into the regular series, and then it's also been having little mini-series that have been made as well. I've got 3 of the mini-series that have come out. The first one up is Civil War II, Choosing Sides number 2. This one is a trilogy of stories about characters that are not in the usual Civil War story or stuff you want to know what's going on with them. In this case, we have War Machine, Goliath, and Nick Fury. So War Machine is written by Jeremy Whitley with art by Marguerite Sauvage. Goliath is written by Brandon Thomas with art by Marco Rudy. And Nick Fury is written and drawn by Declan Shalvey. So War Machine's artwork, pretty interesting. Ooh, there's Storm. Nice. It's a good looking Storm. I like that one. And it's just pretty much the history of War Machine. Next up, we have Goliath, the Goliath story, which is a different style of artwork and a different character you might not expect. And then Declan, he gets to draw Moon Knight again. Interesting. So he hasn't drawn Moon Knight in a while, but here we go again. So we get it says Nick Fury, but I guess they're going to be focusing a little bit on Moon Knight as well. So Choosing Sides is a unique book because you get to 3 little mini stories about characters that normally, you know, you wouldn't be reading about in the main series. So it gives you a chance to see what's going on with them. Next up is Civil War II, Gods of War II. Dan Abnett, who seems to be writing everything, he's writing Marvel and DC, is writing this, and the artwork is by Lizo. Let me see if I can find his name. Emilio Lizo. And obviously it's mostly about gods. Hercules appears to be the main god involved with this, but there could be some other ones that looks like Gilgamesh and some other stuff as well seem to appear in this. But Hercules has always been an interesting character. Bob Layton has done a really good futuristic Hercules storyline, and then when he took over, when Greg Pak took over the Incredible Hulk, he turned to the Incredible Hercules and had him and Amadeus Cho joined up together. So here's what Hercules is doing, Gods of War number 2. And then finally, my favorite, because he was the first superhero that I ever got me interested into comics. My dad started my collection, and he's the one that got me into it. And he does have his own series, but they decided to do a mini series because I guess there's an entirely different story going on in his series. They want to mix it up. So this is Civil War II, Amazing Spider-Man number 2, with written by Christos Gage, art by Travel Foreman, who I can give or take. Sometimes Travel does some good stuff, but sometimes it sort of boggles my mind sometimes some of the stuff he's doing. But it's Spider-Man. It's what he's doing during Civil War II, even though he appears to be in the Civil War II proper, but it's still Spider-Man. Spider-Man is still a very popular character, and you're going to want to get as much Spider-Man involved with it, and you're not going to be doing him in the crossover with him in the Amazing Spider-Man comics, so it works out there. So for Marvel, I got a lot of independence this week. I wasn't expecting to see this much, but some interesting stuff rolled in. Real quick, there was something I want to talk about real quick. I check Previews.com. Previews is the comic magazine, the comic catalog that the retailers use to order their comics 2 weeks in advance. And there's a website, and it has, you know, what's coming out this week. And normally it's just listing the each, you know, Dark Horse, DC, Image, IDW, Marvel, and Independent, stuff like that, and lists what's coming out that week, pricing, stuff like that. They changed it up, and I was really excited. They have 2 ways you can look at it. Now they have thumbnails of all the covers, which is really cool. And then you can go back to the way it was before also. But I decided to go with the thumbnail for the covers and check that out for the first time today. And I'm glad I did, because I was able to find some of the covers I liked and found some interesting stuff that looked good to me. So from Image, we've got Horizon #1. Don't know much about it. Obviously, it looks like a science fiction one. It's written by Brandon Thomas. Oh, he's doing something in Civil War, shooting sides, with art by Juan Gedeon. And you know, outer space stuff. Very interesting. Very cool. I can't wait to read this. I mean, I had heard about it, and if it looked good to me, so I figured, why not? And so I'm going to take a look at it. And looks like an alien comes to Earth type of thing. And looks like she's the alien. And oh, artwork is gorgeous. So I can't wait to read this. I might read this sooner than later. So gorgeous. So there we go. That's Horizon #1. So check that out, definitely. From IDW, I've got 2 books from IDW. I got this cover because I like it. It has absolutely nothing to do with the story, but I still like it. Back in the 80s, there was a character called Rom. He started off as a toy, I think, and then he got his own comic through Marvel. Well, IDW has got the rights to it, and now they're releasing a Rom comic. So in order to get awareness about it, they have like a Rom cover month, and I guess this is it, because Back to the Future 10 is brand new, and there's Rom on the cover, and it's a really nice cover with Marty and Doc, and so I had to check it out. It's written by John Barber and Bob Gale. Bob Gale wrote the original movie trilogy, so he knows what he's talking about. Script by John Barber, with art by Marcello Ferrero and Athilia Fabio. Inks by Marcello Ferrero, Athilia Fabio, and Tony Doya. And there are other covers. If you don't like Rom, they do have other covers. But this one had been a FAQ, a frequently asked questions series, where, you know, people got questions answered about the characters, about how things happen that we didn't see in the movies. But now they're in the middle of their first big storyline, and it's still, you know, it's a pretty interesting one. And you've got Marty, and you've got Doc, and all different characters, and some new characters being introduced, and just a chance to explore space and time and do all kinds of stuff. So it looks like that the final issue of this series is final issue of the storyline is coming up, and then they'll have another new storyline. So looks pretty good, and you know, it's been a good series so far, so I don't see why it wouldn't continue to be so. Next up is the X-Files #4. This is based on the new series that came out earlier this year. I just had to get this because it's a gorgeous Scully cover, written by Joe Harris with art by Andrew Curry. So it focuses on Scully, and it's always interesting to hear interesting things about her. And hopefully, X-Files has been on the fence with me, but this looks really nice. The artwork is gorgeous, and the story is pretty good. And ooh, it looks like Queequeg makes an appearance in the next issue. So yay, Queequeg! Only real X-Files fans would know who Queequeg was. So all right, that's it for IDW. We're still in Independence. Wait a second, is this? No, that's boom. Okay. Next up is Aftershock, which is a really good comic series, or comic company. They're doing a really good series called Rough Riders. This is #4. I'm a sucker for historical fiction or alternate versions of history. This is basically Adam Glass is the writer, and Patrick Olaf is the artist. This is basically his version of the Legion of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. The leader is Teddy Roosevelt, and I think you've got Calamity Jane and John Henry, Harry Houdini. Tesla, I think, is involved with it as well. Edison, maybe not Tesla, but Edison is. But it's also a similar take to Manifest Destiny, which I also love, also from Image. So this is just a really interesting historical type of way to look at things. And I love Teddy Roosevelt. So Rough Riders #4. Got all the other issues. Definitely should check it out. Okay, next up, we've got from Boom Studios, which one of the big wigs is a friend of mine, Philip Sablick, and he's releasing some really good stuff nowadays. Originally, I wasn't going to get this one, but I figured, I want to just check it out because it's a new comic and it's a #1. It's from Boom. It's a Kong of Skull Island. I guess it's going to be like a prequel to the movie that's coming out, I think, next year with Tom Hiddleston. It's written by James Asmus with illustrations by Carlos Magno, who I haven't seen in a while. But, big giant monkeys slaying each other. It's too bad you couldn't get Frank Cho, though he probably wouldn't have been able to bring it on time. I love Frank's artwork, but he just has a problem with hitting deadlines. And it looks gorgeous. Skull Island, King Kong, scantily clad women, all kinds of cool stuff. So why not check it out? And I think it is a prequel to the upcoming movie. So as I said, I think it's coming out next year. So also from Boom, Boom has a crossover with DC. It's a Lumberjanes Gotham Academy #2. Is out today. 2 really different books for their respective companies, Boom and DC, but together they work out pretty good. It's written by China Clugston Flores with pencils by Rosemary Valerio O'Connell, inks by Maddie Gonzalez. So it seems like it's all female cast members, about an all female team. So interesting. So something different in comics. So if you want to try something different, I would recommend checking this out. Lumberjanes, Gotham Academy. Gotham Academy will be coming back to DC, I think, this fall. And Lumberjanes is still going on at Boom Studios. So check those out. Archie's been doing really well with their horror line, and we've got issue #6 of Sabrina. And we get a good look at Salem the cat. And I think we're going to focus more about that. Roberto Aguirre Sacasa is the story, and artworks by Robert Hack. And we get to see a little bit more into the mind of Salem, which is great because I love cats, and Salem was always a great character. This is not your Sabrina the Teenage Witch TV show. This comic is very, very dark and very historical-esque and very creepy and very horrific, and very much like what you expect a comic about witches to be about. But I think the basic story behind it is this issue is about Salem, the cat. Focuses on the cat. So Roberta Aguirre Sacasa is also writing the Archie Afterlife with Archie book about the zombie apocalypse in the Archie world. He also wrote some really good Spider-Man books a few years back. All right, this one is from Comically Graphic India, which I never heard of before. It's a one-shot. I saw it, as I said, I saw the cover in the new previews thing. I had to get it. It's called The Mighty Yeti. It just looks really cool. And it's written by Arjun Raj Gained with art by Suamin Patel. So I think it actually is India, an India comic, which is coming out, and it must be some sort of, I wouldn't necessarily say Bollywood because it doesn't look like anybody's dancing, but it looks like, you've got really nice watercolor-esque colors and a very interesting, and then they have a Grant Morrison book coming out also. So this might be a company you might want to check out, but this is gorgeous artwork. And there's your first appearance of Mighty Yeti. So maybe if it does well enough, they'll they'll bring it back. But he looks awesome, and I just leafed through it. I saw the covers. I got to get this. It is only a one shot, so I said, why not? I'll pick it up. So actually, Graphic Indie's done a lot of stuff. Devi and 18 Days and Chakra the Invincible. So hey, check it out. It's one shot, and if you like it, hey, maybe they'll make it into a regular series, and it's something completely different. And we're getting down to the end of it now. This one's from Lion Force Comics. My wife is a huge Voltron fan. I'm a huge Voltron fan too, but my wife is just a crazy fanatic for Voltron. And we haven't seen the new Netflix series yet, so we gotta do that, you know. But they did release a comic to tie in with it. So we've got the first issue of Voltron Legendary Defender, which is based on the cartoon from Netflix. So it's not your Voltron you're used to. It's the new Voltron, which you probably might want to check out the new Voltron cartoon on Netflix before we read this. So I might put this one off to the side after we check out and see if we check out some stuff and check it out. But I mean, it looks pretty good. Voltron is Voltron, and it's a Voltron updated for current times. So, you know, why not, you know? And so you get the comic and all kinds of fun stuff. So that's #1, came out today too. So if you like the Netflix cartoon series, hey, pick up the comic as well. Now, finally, I had to get this trade. I bought volume 1 when it came out, and I devoured it in a weekend and was waiting for volume 2, and volume 2 is here. It's DC Comic Bombshells, volume 2. Now, it's written by Marguerite Bennett with art by, I think it looks like Laura Braga and Mirka Andolfo. And Sandy Jarrell, ML Sinapo, Juan Albaran, and Marguerite Salvage. And basically, it's another one of these digital first comics that DC does, and then they collect them they put them in comic book format, collect them in comic book format, and then you can read the stories in comics. So this is all digital stuff. It's basically taking a look at a different history of the DC universe where the females fought in World War II. So you get different styles of, you know, different versions of, let's see if we can get a good shot. Here's Wonder Woman. There's some Wonder Woman right there. And then there's Batgirl, you know, new style of Batgirl in like a 1940s bombshell style. Harley Quinn's involved in it also. Zatanna's involved with it. Here's Zatanna right there. Love Zatanna. Looks like Star Spangled Girl. Due to the cover, you know, you got Star Spangled Girl, Wonder Woman, and the Supergirl. So you've got all those, and you've got Mara. Let me see. There's Mara. That's a good shot of Mara. So you also get Mara's involved in there as well. So you've got a lot of the female DC characters: Huntress, Catwoman. It's the end of Bombshells Year 1, so perfect timing. So if they decide to do it the Year 2, I can maybe catch it up on the ground floor. So I think it's finally going to have them all team up together and battle the Nazis. So you might be able to find volume 1 in your stores now, but volume 2 just came out. If you want to get caught up on this excellent book, the first trade was fantastic. And the second one looks just as gorgeous. I love the artwork, and it's written by Marguerite Bennett, who I also adore her writing as well, and fantastic. So we got all kinds of wonderful things here. So that is it for the Comic Haul this week. My next show, I actually have a couple stuff come up tomorrow. I will be on the Snooze with Tony Solo. We will be talking Pokemon Go. We'll be talking Sharknado, and we'll be talking about TV shows and stuff like that. So check that out. Saturday, as I mentioned earlier, Dylan Knows, my regular show. Jerry Fletcher and I at 9 o'clock will be discussing the top 10 films with numbers in the title, but not sequels. So it's like 7 or Apollo 13 or 9 to 5, stuff like that. So that's what we're doing here. Hopefully next week I will have a much less expensive stack of comics. But until then, keep reading them. I've been reading Rebirth, and there's some really good looking stuff in here. I'm probably going to read Bombshells this weekend. Mighty Yeti and Horizon look excellent, and just keep getting caught up on the Rebirth stuff as well, and check out some of the Civil War things as well. And they got all kinds of neat stuff, and Rough Riders is excellent as well. So all kinds of great stuff. Now, once again, let me just reiterate, this is not everything that came out this week. This is just what I got. A lot of stuff came out this week. There's a lot of other really interesting things you might want to check out. So go to your local comic store today. Comics started coming out today, all the way through the weekend. Maybe your store will have some sort of specials going on this weekend, or just pick up the stuff, but new comics are in starting today. So run, don't walk to your local comic store. And if you want to, hey, if you're playing Pokemon Go, why don't you take your Pokemon Go phone and see if there's any Pokemons in your local comic store. Other than that, I will see you hopefully next weekend, or not next weekend, next week, and enjoy the Comic Call.